Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something pretty cool,
Yeah,
I think.
I think so too.
And that's the world of conceptual photography. And I know you're super interested in, kind of pushing your own creative limits and stuff. And
Right.
I think you'll find some really cool stuff here.
I think so too.
Our guide for this dive is going to be this blog post called Unleashing Boundless Creativity from Redimedia.
Sounds good.
So if you want to check that out yourself, feel free.
Yeah.
But wow, this post is packed with ideas.
It really is conceptual photography.
Yeah.
It's all about taking these abstract ideas and transforming them into these really striking visuals.
Yeah.
So
it's not just like, pretty pictures.
No.
Or landscapes or anything like that.
No, it's about,
This blog post really describes it as like stepping into this realm of imagination.
Yeah.
Where ideas can be transformed into these visually stunning realities.
Exactly.
Like,
it's really something.
Almost makes me think of like those images that make you wonder if they're real or not.
Exactly, like forced perspective.
Yeah.
Where photographers are kind of manipulating the viewer's perception of scale and depth.
Yeah.
Or, using light and shadow to create a sense of mystery or drama even.
Right.
Or even incorporating digital manipulation to blend reality with fantasy.
Yeah.
Some photographers even construct entire sets and scenes, almost like creating a theatrical stage for their concepts.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That makes me think about how a photographer would like approach the concept of like isolation, for example. Would they use vast empty landscapes or maybe focus on a single figure lost in a crowd?
That's a really great example.
Yeah.
And a photographer exploring isolation could use any of those approaches.
Right.
Or even something totally unexpected.
Yeah.
The key is how they use those visual elements to convey that feeling to the viewers.
Yeah.
So it's really like they're
communicating.
Yeah, communicating that feeling.
Yeah.
Wow. This is making me see photography in a whole new light.
It's pretty amazing.
And this blog post also talks about how, you can tell captivating stories through these images.
Absolutely.
It's not just a snapshot. It's like, it reminds me of this black and white photo I saw once.
Right.
It was just this lone figure walking down an empty road.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a picture. It made me wonder about that person's story.
Right.
Where they were going, what they were feeling.
That's the power of visual storytelling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's about using composition symbolism.
Right.
And even the way light falls on a subject.
Yeah.
To evoke those emotions and spark the viewer's imagination.
Right. So it's like...
It's really powerful.
Yeah, it really is. I'm starting to see how even simple photos can tell stories. But how can somebody like me, who mostly takes casual photos...
You're right.
How can I apply these ideas?
Well, I'm not building elaborate sets for my cat photos or anything.
Right. But even with everyday photography, you can think about those elements.
Okay.
Imagine you're taking a photo of your cat by a window.
Yeah.
By positioning the cat off-center.
Okay.
And using the lines of the window frame to kind of lead the viewer's eye.
Yeah.
You're already creating a more dynamic and engaging composition.
Right.
And that hints at a story.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
That's pretty cool.
So even the placement of my subject can tell a story.
Absolutely.
That's wild. This blog post also talks about how conceptual photographers can express their own personal experiences and cultural backgrounds.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Imagine a photographer exploring their heritage through a series of portraits.
Okay.
Using traditional clothing or symbolism unique to their culture.
Yeah.
Or a photographer using surreal imagery to comment on a social issue that they're passionate about.
Okay. So it's almost like using photography as a voice to share something meaningful.
Exactly. It becomes more than just a picture.
Yeah.
It's a statement, a reflection of the artist's inner world.
Right.
And their perspective on the world around them.
Yeah, and it's not even just limited to the photographer. Like the subject's own identity and experiences can become part of the story, too.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. It sounds like a real collaboration. Which makes me think about the next point the blog brings up. The team effort involved in a lot of these shoots. Makeup artists, set designers, stylists.
Right.
It's like a whole production crew.
It often is, especially for those more complex shoots.
Yeah.
That collaborative energy is where the concept truly comes to life.
Yeah.
You have different creative minds bouncing ideas off of each other.
Right.
Contributing their expertise.
Yeah.
And that elevates the final product.
Yeah. It reminds me of a story I heard about a photographer who created this amazing series.
Oh, wow.
Inspired by a classic novel.
Okay.
And they had costume designers, set builders, even a choreographer to work with the models.
That's amazing.
It's like all these different art forms coming together.
It's so cool.
Yeah, that's a great example of how collaboration can amplify a photographer's vision.
It's like they're creating a world, not just an image.
Yeah. And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of conceptual photography.
What's that?
The personal growth it can foster. It's about pushing yourself creatively, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Which really resonates with me.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime I try something new, I learn something.
Right.
Even if it's just about myself.
It's about challenging yourself.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that this growth can extend beyond photography itself.
Really?
Yeah. When you challenge yourself creatively in one area, it spills over into others.
Yeah.
You start seeing the world differently.
Yeah.
Approaching problems with a fresh perspective.
That's awesome. It's like that saying, creativity breeds creativity.
Exactly.
So even if you're not a professional photographer, embracing that mindset of creative exploration can be beneficial in so many ways.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the most powerful takeaways from conceptual photography.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential to be creative.
Yeah.
To push our boundaries and to express ourselves in unique and meaningful ways.
Well said. I think that's a great place to kind of wrap up part one of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
We've learned that conceptual photography is about so much more than just taking pictures.
It really is.
It's about storytelling, self-expression, pushing creative limits, and even collaboration.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's making me think differently about photography as an art form.
I think that's the point.
Yeah, but we've only just scratched the surface here.
I know, right?
Stick with us as we dive even deeper into this fascinating world.
Absolutely.
One thing that really struck me in that blog post is how conceptual photography challenges us to break free from the ordinary.
Yeah.
It's like, saying goodbye to those typical picture-perfect landscapes.
Right.
And hello to this world where anything is possible.
Exactly. It's about pushing the boundaries of what we expect from a photograph.
Yeah.
Inviting us to kind of question our perceptions of reality.
Okay.
Imagine a photograph where a figure appears to be floating in midair, defying gravity.
Right.
Or a scene where objects are distorted and warped, playing with our sense of perspective.
Oh, wow. That reminds me of those mind-bending works by M.C. Escher.
Oh, yeah?
Where, staircases seem to loop back on themselves.
Right, yeah.
And water flows uphill. It's amazing how photographers can achieve that same sense of the surreal.
Yeah, it's all about mastering those technical aspects of photography.
Right.
Things like lighting composition and even digital manipulation.
Yeah.
Become tools for creating these illusions and conveying a concept.
Okay.
A photographer might use a long exposure to capture the movement of stars.
Yeah.
Creating a sense of time passing in a single frame.
Right.
Or they might use forced perspective to make a small object appear gigantic.
Oh, wow.
Playing with our sense of scale and proportion.
So it's like they're using the camera to create a whole new reality rather than just documenting the one we see.
Exactly.
And speaking of creating realities, the blog post also talked about how these photos can tell such powerful stories. It's not just about capturing a moment. It's about crafting a narrative that draws the viewer in.
Absolutely. Imagine a series of photographs that explores the theme of loss.
Okay.
The photographer might use empty spaces, faded colors, and obscured faces to kind of evoke feelings of sadness and longing.
Right.
Or they might use contrasting elements like a wilting flower next to a blooming one.
Okay.
To symbolize the passage of time and the cycle of life and death. Each photograph becomes a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Inviting the viewer to piece together the story and connect with the emotions behind it.
So it's like they're giving us a glimpse into their own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
Using photography as a language to communicate something that words might not be able to express.
And that's what makes conceptual photography so powerful.
Yeah.
It can be a way of exploring complex themes like identity belonging or the human condition.
Right.
It can be a way of challenging societal norms or shedding light on important social issues.
Right.
And because it's so open to interpretation,
Yeah.
it can spark dialogue and encourage viewers to think critically about the world around them.
That idea of multiple interpretations really resonates with me.
Yeah.
One person might look at a photograph and see sadness,
Right.
while another sees hope.
Exactly.
It all depends on their own experiences and perspectives.
And that's what makes conceptual photography so engaging.
Right.
It's not just a passive experience.
Yeah.
It's an invitation to participate in the creative process,
Yeah.
to bring your own thoughts and feelings to the table and engage in a dialogue with the artwork.
That's really cool.
It's a reminder that art is not just about beauty.
Mm-hmm.
It's about meaning, connection, and provoking thought.
As we delve deeper into this world, I can't help but wonder where these photographers find their inspiration. What sparks these incredible ideas?
You know, inspiration can come from anywhere, really. It could be a personal experience, a news story, a piece of music, or even a fleeting observation of the world around them.
Right.
Some conceptual photographers keep notebooks filled with sketches, quotes, and ideas
Yeah.
that they can draw from later.
Mhm.
Others might be inspired by a particular emotion or a concept
Yeah.
that they want to explore visually.
Okay.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
So it sounds like a very introspective process, almost like digging into your own subconscious and trying to translate those feelings into a visual language.
Exactly.
And I imagine it takes a lot of experimentation and trial and error
That's
to get it right.
Conceptual photography isn't about simply capturing what's in front of you.
Right.
It's about creating something new,
Yeah.
something that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
And that requires a willingness to take risks, to try new things, and to embrace the unexpected.
I'm starting to understand why the blog post emphasized the importance of collaboration in conceptual photography.
Yeah.
It seems like having different perspectives and skill sets involved could really help bring those ideas to life.
Collaboration can be a key element in bringing a conceptual vision to fruition.
Yeah.
Imagine a photographer who wants to create a series of images inspired by a dream they had.
Okay.
They might work with a set designer to build a physical representation of that dream world,
Right.
or they might collaborate with a costume designer to create outfits that evoke the characters or emotions from the dream.
Wow.
It's about harnessing the collective creativity of a team to realize something truly unique and impactful.
It makes me think of those behind-the-scenes documentaries about movie productions, where you see all the different departments, lighting, sound, costumes, special effects, coming together to create a cohesive vision.
It is.
It sounds like a very similar dynamic.
And that collaborative spirit is what often elevates conceptual photography to another level.
Yeah.
It's not just about one person's vision. It's about the synergy created when different creative minds come together,
Right.
sharing ideas and pushing each other to achieve something extraordinary.
That's really inspiring. It makes me wonder if there are any examples you can share of successful collaborations in the world of conceptual photography.
There are countless examples.
Yeah.
One that comes to mind is the work of the photographer Reuven Afanador,
Okay.
who's known for his stunning portraits of celebrities and cultural icons.
Yeah.
Afanador often collaborates with fashion designers, stylists, and makeup artists
Right.
to create these incredibly elaborate and theatrical images.
Oh, wow.
The results are always striking,
Yeah.
and they speak to the power of collaboration in amplifying a photographer's vision.
That's amazing. It sounds like those collaborations create a real synergy
They do.
where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
Absolutely.
And it's fascinating to think about how those different creative voices contribute to the final product.
It's a testament to the power of collaboration.
Yeah.
And it highlights how conceptual photography can extend beyond a single artist's perspective
Right.
to become a truly interdisciplinary art form.
It's making me think about how I could incorporate those collaborative elements into my own photography,
Yeah.
even if it's just on a smaller scale.
Right.
Maybe I could team up with a friend who's a painter or musician and see what kind of creative sparks we could ignite together.
That's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the accessibility of conceptual photography. You don't need to have a huge budget or a team of professionals to explore these concepts.
Right.
The most important thing is to have a curious mind, a willingness to experiment,
Yeah.
and a desire to express yourself creatively.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
I'm really starting to appreciate the depth and complexity of conceptual photography.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's not just about taking pictures, it's about exploring ideas, telling stories, collaborating with others, and embarking on a journey of self-discovery.
It's a whole journey.
But we're not done yet, are we?
Not quite.
There's still more to explore in this fascinating world.
There is. We've talked about breaking free from reality, visual storytelling, inspiration, and collaboration.
Right.
But there's one more aspect of conceptual photography that I think is particularly fascinating.
Okay.
The personal journey it can spark.
That sounds intriguing. I'm ready to dive deeper into that aspect. Let's continue our exploration.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this idea of like a personal journey.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. It seems like conceptual photography requires like a lot of introspection and self-awareness.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just technical skill.
It does. It challenges you to dig deeper.
Yeah.
To confront your own ideas and beliefs.
Okay.
And to translate those inner thoughts and feelings into a visual language.
It's like holding up a mirror to your own soul.
Yeah.
And trying to capture its reflection.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And like any journey of self-discovery, it can be both challenging and incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
You might start with a clear idea of what you want to express.
Right.
But as you experiment and explore, you might uncover these hidden depths and new perspectives
Yeah.
that you weren't even aware of before.
That makes me think of how writers talk about their characters taking on a life of their own
Yeah,
and leading them in these unexpected directions.
absolutely.
Could something similar happen in conceptual photography?
Oh, for sure. A photographer might begin a project with one concept in mind.
Yeah.
But as they start working with different elements,
Yeah.
lighting, composition models, props,
Right.
the project might evolve in ways they hadn't anticipated.
Yeah.
They might discover new connections, new meanings, and even new aspects of themselves that they hadn't explored before.
So that sounds like a really transformative experience.
Yeah.
It's not just about creating art. It's about using art as a tool for self-discovery
Yeah.
and personal growth.
And the beautiful thing is that growth isn't limited to the artists themselves.
No.
The viewer can also embark on a journey of discovery
Okay.
when they engage with conceptual photography.
Oh, so it's like a shared journey.
Exactly.
A conversation between the artist and the viewer.
The photographer creates the image,
Yeah.
but it's the viewer who brings their own experiences, interpretations, and emotions to the table.
Right.
And that interplay can create a truly meaningful and transformative encounter.
It reminds me of how I feel when I read a really good book.
Yeah.
I might connect with a certain character or theme in a way that the author never intended,
Right.
but it's still a valid and valuable experience.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Conceptual photography, like literature, invites us to participate in the creative process, to bring our own perspectives and interpretations to the work.
Okay.
And in doing so, we learn not only about the artist's vision, but also about ourselves.
This is making me think about how I approach photography in my own life. I tend to focus on capturing moments and memories.
Right.
But I've never really thought about using photography as a way to explore my own thoughts and feelings.
And you don't have to be a professional photographer or create elaborate sets to do that.
Okay.
Even a simple snapshot can be conceptual
Yeah.
if you're intentional about the choices you make.
Right.
The composition, the lighting, the subject matter.
Okay.
It's all about finding ways to translate your inner world into a visual language.
So if I wanted to explore a concept like joy through photography, I might focus on capturing moments of laughter,
Yeah,
bright colors and movement.
that's a great example.
Okay, cool.
Or you might photograph objects that evoke feelings of joy for you.
Yeah,
A favorite childhood toy, a sunlit window, a bowl of fresh fruit.
that makes sense.
The possibilities are endless,
Yeah.
and the journey is yours to create.
I feel like I've learned so much about conceptual photography, and I've gained a whole new appreciation for it.
Yeah.
It's not just about taking pictures, it's about exploring ideas, telling stories, collaborating with others, and embarking on a journey of self-discovery.
Absolutely.
So the world is full of inspiration just waiting to be captured.
It is.
Next time you look at a photograph, don't just see the image.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what story is it trying to tell? What emotions does it evoke?
Right.
And what world does it invite you to step into?
I think that's a great takeaway.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your creativity
Yeah.
and given you a new lens through which to view the world.
And who knows, maybe it'll even inspire you to pick up a camera
Yeah.
and embark on your own conceptual photography adventure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating,
Yes.
and keep those creative sparks flying.